is what? Basic elasticity. So this alone, usually in GATE they ask 4-5 questions, like 3 to 5 questions. In recent GATE 2020, they asked 5 questions from here, this part. So there are plenty of topics, and this part will take, around 5 classes, minimum 5 to 6 class it will take to cover. And then the next important part is what? This part, which is what? Beam. Okay, so these two are the hot topic in SOM. One is basic elasticity, and another is what? Beam. So in beam, also you can see the first we can discuss about basic elasticity. So it has stresses, strain, stress-strain relationship, volumetric strain, strain energy, thermal stresses. Now this compatibility equation and this Airy stress function is specific to gate aerospace. Okay, it is not in gate mechanical. So we will discuss this part separately. Now, after this axially loaded member, torsion of shaft, and then one more important, as I told, beam. So in beam, we have to start with SFBM diagram, then bending and shear stresses, deflection of beam, indeterminate beam. All these topics we will be covering. Okay. So here, these are, most important topic. Then we have, some other topics like thin cells, buckling of column, theory of failure. So after those two, the theory of failure is next most important topic. Okay. Now, if you take gate mechanical, it is combined with machine design also. Okay, but in aerospace we do not have the subject machine design. So we study in strength of material part itself. Almost every year they ask one question from this part, either from von Mises theory or Tresca's theory. Now all these we will study what is von Mises theory, Tresca's theory when we go to theory of failure. And this theory of failure is always most of the time combined with this thin cells. Okay, so thin cell problem will be combined with theory of failure. Now this was about the syllabus part. So you guys have seen we start from here, basic elasticity. Then we go to axially loaded member, torsion of shaft, then beam, and beam has these several topics, and then we cover this thin cell, and then buckling of column, theory of failure. What books we refer? We refer two books. Okay, one is Mechanics of Material by Gare. Okay, Mechanics of Material by Gare. E-books is available in our book drive. The next book which we follow is what? Aircraft Structures by Megson. But here we follow only first two chapters, because currently we are in aircraft structures basics or strength of material part, but we follow Megson for thin walled structures also. So first two chapter means for where we follow for what purpose, for this basic elasticity. In Megson they have given very well this first basic elasticity part. But Gare is also equally good, but only thing in Gare, like compatibility equation, this Airy stress function is not there. So this particular, this aerospace specific part we have to cover from this Megson book alone. So this is about syllabus part. Anyone has any concern here in this part? What I am going to cover in next almost 1.5 month to 2 months. I will be taking classes on Saturday and Sunday. Now, initially, like mechanics schedule, I will replace. So 2 classes per week I will take initially, and later on I will make 1 extra class. Is it clear now? Okay. Okay. So fine. So let's move to first topic, basic elasticity. So in basic elasticity, these are the listed topics. We start with the stresses, then move to strains, stress-strain relationship, volumetric strain, strain energy, thermal stresses, and then these two aerospace specific topic. Now we start with basic elasticity. Now tell me guys, what is the relation between force and displacement for basic structure member like spring? What is the relation between force and spring? Yes, F equal to kx, right? This is what we learned in engineering mechanics, okay? Or this is also valid for our axially loaded member like for rod or bar. Clear? But if you take a two-dimensional structure or a three-dimensional structure, we cannot write always F equal to kx. Okay, we cannot write always F equal to kx. So in that case, what we do, we relate force with a displacement, and your displacement will be related with strain, and your strain will be related with stresses, and your stresses will be related with force. So you can see this is what force displacement relationship. Then there will be strain displacement relations, which we will cover upcoming classes. So this strain displacement relation is between what? Displacement and strain. Now your strain and stresses are related with what? Stress strain relations. It is also known as constitutive relations. This is again one very important topic in basic elasticity. What is the stress strain relation is known as for one dimensional structure or one dimensional problem? What is the relation between stress and strain for one dimensional? It is modulus of elasticity is constant. It is known as Hooke's law. All of you heard, right? Your stress is proportional to strain, right? So Hooke's law is only applicable for one dimensional loading. Okay. If your loading is two dimensional, can you write stress is proportional to strain? See, you can write if I have this load, okay, P. So my stress is what? P by A. So my strain will be what? Sigma into E. Clear? Now instead of this, I am saying I have a plate. So here, suppose I have sigma X. Now tell me guys, can you write Hooke's law here? You can't, okay, because there will be Poisson effect. So that Poisson effect has to be considered, and we will have constitutive relation. That is what? Stress strain relationship for two-dimensional problem, because it's a 2D problem. Similarly, we will discuss three-dimensional problem. So for three-dimensional problem, you will have one more extra term. So if I write here my stress strain relationship, so my sigma x will be what, guys? Or my epsilon x will be what? It will be sigma x by E minus nu times sigma y upon E. So this is what your constitutive relation for two-dimensional problem. Same way we will have epsilon y. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Hooke's law is only applicable for one-dimensional problem. Now, this is about stress and strain. Now, your stresses will be related with force by something called equilibrium equation. Now, this equilibrium equation is very important to understand. Okay, so this we will start in our first class. We will start from here. We will start with stresses, and then we will move to equilibrium equation. Based on these equilibrium equations, we will come to few conclusion. One is what your shear stresses are of complementary nature, that is will be one. And anywhere if equilibrium equations are satisfied, that means your system is in equilibrium. Under your loading, your system is in equilibrium. Okay, so is it clear? So this complete rectangle, or this a cycle has to be covered in basic. So once you know the force, you can find the remaining quantity. It's like they will apply external load. Due to external load, if you follow your numerical approach, what first thing you guys find in numerical approach? Anyone have studied finite element method or any other this subject, numerical methods? What you guys find in numerical methods? In numerical method, Selva, you find stress. Now tell me guys, stress is a derived quantity or calculated quantity? Yes, displacement is always found first, okay, in numerical analysis. So basic elasticity is what? Foundation of numerical analysis. Yes, displacement only you can find, and then all other quantities are derived from displacements. Exactly. So first you will you from your numerical analysis you will find displacement. From displacement you will calculate strain will be found. From strain, stresses will be found, and from stresses boundary forces can be found. This is how this approach work. Okay, so basic elasticity, not just important in your GATE exam. Even if you go for higher studies, you will learn all these numerical technique, okay, in analysis. So those numerical technique has foundation stone is what? Basic elasticity. Basic elasticity is also kind of approach to solve problem. Earlier era, where numerical methods were not available, people have used basic elasticity as a tool to solve problem of structural analysis. Like strength of material is also one approach, but in strength of material we can solve most of the what kind of problem? What kind of problem we can solve in strength of material? Which are simple problem, which has exact solution. Okay, whenever there is an exact solution, we can use strength of material approach. Okay, whenever there has to be approximation, then earlier era it was used basic elasticity. Now we use numerical analysis. Okay, so all the numerical analysis are based on approximate approach. Okay, there won't be exact solution. It will have very closer to exact. Okay, there will be some kind of error involved in numerical analysis always. Okay, now let's start with stress. Okay, so guys, tell me, what is the stress? What you guys mean by stress? Nowadays we are taking more classes, right? So you guys are stressed, right? So it is simple. When something is loaded, when your structure is loaded, it will get stressed, right? So basically it is what? It is the resistance against external loading provided by body or material. Okay, so your stress is defined as what? When a body undergoes deformation, when a body undergoes a deformation, under the application of external forces. A restoring or resistance force is induced within the body. The intensity of this force is known as what? Stress. Okay, so the unit is what? Force per area. Now you guys know pressure, right? What is the pressure? What is the pressure, guys? It is F by A. What is your stress? Stress is also force by area, right? Then what is the difference between pressure and stress? Pressure is normal force per area. Pressure is direct. Pressure, stress measured internal resistance force. Stress, pressure is external. Pressure both internal or exit. See, if you ask me, the basic physical difference between pressure and stress is what? Stress, pressure is a scalar quantity. Okay, pressure is someone told pressure is normal, right? So you will also have a normal stress and a shear stress. So the basic difference between, before going to stress, we have to understand between pressure and stress is what? Pressure, if you take, it's a scalar quantity. What I mean by that, if you take any point in a structure, at that point in all the direction your pressure will remain same, right? If you take this point, my pressure in all the direction will remain same. Okay, but if you take stress, this is the point where we want to find stress. If you change your plane, this is my plane. If you change your plane, your stress will vary at the same point. Okay, so stress is a tensorial quantity. Of course, Nihal, we will discuss further how it is a tensorial quantity. But your stress E at a point is not same in all the direction. Okay, so that is what physical difference. Now the external and internal, you know, you can have internal pressure, you can have external pressure. See, that is like pressure is acting on a structure. But if you take water, at any point, what happens? Your that volume of water will exert a certain pressure. Okay, and it will be same in all the direction, right? So same way, when some load is acting on a structure, inside structure there will be stress. Okay, so that stress is what? Dependent on few things. One is what? Resultant force. Another is what? The reference plane. Okay, area of action, no, area is like, it is infinitesimal small, it tends to zero because it's a force per unit. Point doesn't have any area. Okay, so your stress usually depends on two things: the resultant force at that point, and another thing, reference plane. If you change your reference plane, your stress will change. So that we will discuss how. So usually your stress is defined as sigma, and it is what? Limit delta A tends to 0, delta P by delta A. Now delta P is what? This is your resultant force at that point, and delta A is what? Infinitesimal small area. And also we are writing limit delta A tends to 0. That means it is a point. Whenever area tends to 0, what is the meaning of that, guys? It's a point. You guys agree? It's a point, right? Yeah. Now look, in this case, what I see here, we have taken here a cut. Okay, like I am drawing free body diagram. What we did here, at this point I want to find my stress, so we have cut this body where there are several forces P1, P2, P3, P4, P5 and so on by a plane N. Okay, so when you cut this, you will see the two part. One is this part, another is this part. Now you guys will say how this delta P came. Anyone can tell how this delta P is coming at this point O? It is from your engineering mechanics, force polygon. Okay, this is what resultant force we can find using force polygon at that point. Now tell me guys, if I change my plane, instead of this N, this new plane MM, will this delta P change at this point O? It will not change. Your resultant force direction will remain same. But what will change? That we have to understand. Okay, so look here. This is my free body diagram. Now, when my plane was NN, you can see this is what my plane NN, and this is what my resultant delta P. So what you see, there is angle theta, right? Now, if I change my plane from NN to MM, what will happen, guys? Tell me. Your theta will change, right? Exactly. So we know here what is my delta Pn, my normal force on that plane. So my normal force is what? Delta P sin theta, and delta Ps is what, guys? What is delta Ps? My in plane force or shear force. Correct? So this is what? Delta P cos theta. Now when your theta changes, this normal force and shear force will change. If your normal force and shear force changes means what? I know what is my normal stress. It is delta P sin theta upon delta A, and you will have limit delta A tends to 0. And what is your shear stress? It is limit delta A tends to 0, delta P cos theta upon delta A. Right? So that means if you change your theta, your sigma and tau will change. Are you guys agree with this? You can see here what is your sigma and what is your tau. Everyone agree, right? Yeah, anyone want to say something? Anusha? Okay, so that means your stress depends on the reference plane. So that means your stress requires three things. One, magnitude. Second, direction. What direction I mean? Either it is a normal stress or it is a shear stress. And third is what? Reference plane. So stress is not just a vector quantity, it is a tensorial quantity. So it's a tensor of second order. So in GATE exam, they may ask, stress is a field. It's a vector, scalar, tensorial field, or none of these. So what should be my answer? Stress is a tensorial field. Clear? So stress is a tensor quantity and it is of second order tensor. It depends on, or it has magnitude, direction, and the plane on which it acts, or the reference plane. Oh, what is second order tensor? Steve, see, if you go to continuum mechanics, okay, there is one branch of mathematics, continuum mechanics. Okay, in continuum mechanics, guys, just hold on. There is a power cut. Okay, it will come back. So, hello, am I audible? Yeah, so my presentation will take a little time if there is a power cut, but I am audible. So what I was telling here, okay, I'll just connect with internet. Okay. So my vector is first order tension, tensor, and your stress is, second order tension. There are even higher order tensorial quantities also there. Okay, so this is the way to represent, in continuum mechanics. Because further, subjects like fracture mechanics and all, they uses, this continuum mechanics funda. It is like generally in, masters and all, people study that subject. Okay, let me get presentation connected. Yeah. Now, you have two stresses. Okay, you guys can see on screen, one is a normal stress and one is shear stress. So normal stress generally represented by sigma. Just a moment, I think my presentation yet not connected. Okay. Yeah, so you guys can see the right. Presentation is visible, right? Okay, yeah. So usually your normal stress is denoted by sigma and shear by tau. But guys, one thing, in basic elasticity, it's not necessary sigma means always normal stress and tau means always shear stress. It doesn't mean. Okay, what I mean, as I told, it's a second order quantity. So that means we usually write sigma ij or tau ij. So what here I represent, guys? What here I represent, guys? Anyone? Here I represent the direction, normal, okay, normal to the plane. I represent the normal to the plane and J represent the direction in which stress is acting. If I equal to J, then it is what? Normal stress. It is what? Normal stress. If I is not equal to J, then it is what? Shear stress. Why I am telling this? Because in one of the your GATE exam paper, your all the stresses in one of the GATE mechanical paper, all the stresses were given in what? tau. Now tell me, what is tau xx mean? Anyone, what is the tau xx mean? It's a shear stress or normal stress? It is a normal stress, though it is given as what? Tau. Okay, because what we have to see this suffix x and y, x and y, sorry, I and j. So here I is equal to j, so this is what? A normal stress. Okay, now same way I am asking, what is sigma xy? What is sigma xy, guys? It's a normal or shear stress? It's a shear stress, though it is denoted by sigma. But what is my importance? I have to see my I and j. Here my I is not equal to j, so it's a shear stress. So this is known as what? Notation and direction of shear stresses. Now, notation you guys understood. The I indicates the plane on which it acts. J indicates the direction in which it acts. Now we have considered, this one cube. You can see this cube has 6 faces. So we have taken one face, which is what? A, B, C, D. What is normal to this face? A, B, C, D. Anyone? What is the normal to this face? It's a normal to A, B, C, D is what? X. It is the x axis, right? So what is my plane? It is known as YZ plane or X plane. Okay, so what will be your normal stress? It will be sigma xx, right? Plane x and direction of normal is what? X. So this is what my normal stress. What will be my shear stresses? It will be x is the plane on which acting, y is my direction. So sigma xy is what? My one of the shear stress. Now another shear stress will be what? It is sigma xz. Okay, because it's a 3-dimensional structure. So for 3-dimensional structure, you will have shear in both y and z direction. So my shear stress in y direction is what? Sigma xy, and in my z direction it is what? Sigma xz. Is it clear? Okay, now the next things, what is that? Sign convention for shear stresses and normal stresses. What I mean by that? Sign convention. Now normal stresses sometimes also known as what? Direct stress. Okay, normal stresses also known as direct stresses. Now the next thing which you guys have to understand here is what? The direction. Okay, so what is the direction mean? So here let's guys draw this cube. This is x, this is y, and this is z. So here my normal stress is what? Sigma xx, right? So this is what your positive x direction, but this is what your negative x direction. Now tell me guys, this sigma xx is what? Tensile or compressive stress? What is you guys mean by tensile and compressive stress? It's a tensile, but in what direction it is going? Tell me guys, it is going in what direction? Negative x direction. So guys, the any stress going in minus x direction doesn't mean it's a compressive. When your stress will be compressive? Tell me guys, for this small body, this is sigma. So this is what? This sigma and this sigma, tell me, is what? Compressive or tensile? It's a tensile. So whenever a stress going away from your section, see, this is what my one section, this is what my another section. So if any time your stress going away from your section is what? A tensile stress. Now here, suppose I am reversing the direction. So this sigma and this sigma, tell me, is what? Compressive. But you can see this going in which direction? Tell me here. This stress going in which direction? Positive x direction, right? So though it is going in positive x direction, but still it is what? A compressive stress, or it's a, usually compressive stresses are known as negative stress, right? How compressive stress? Whenever a stress acting on a section towards the section, okay, it's not away, it is what? Towards the section is what? It is a compressive stress. So it doesn't depend, you know, it is going in plus x direction or minus x direction. It is not like that. It is what? It is going away from section or coming towards the section. If going away from section are tensile stresses, coming towards the section is what? Compressive stress. So this is what? Direction of normal stresses. Okay, now we have to understand what should be the direction of shear stresses. Like you have this normal stress, right? So there will be corresponding shear stresses. If your resultant is not normal to this section, if resultant on this plane is inclined, that means will what? It will have normal force also, it will have shear force also. So normal force will create a normal stress and shear forces will create a shear stress. Now you guys can look here, this normal stress is going in positive x direction. So my corresponding shear, wherever I derive any formula, I will take in corresponding positive x direction. So these are my corresponding positive x's, right? So this is what my y positive and this is what my z positive. Now look here, this is going in negative direction. You can see this normal stress is going in negative direction. So my corresponding shear will also go in negative axis direction. Is it clear? If your normal stress in bracket tensile stress going in positive axis direction, my corresponding shear will be in positive axis direction. If your normal stress going in negative axis direction, you can see this is my negative axis direction. So my corresponding shear will be also in negative axis direction. You can see this is what? Negative z and this is what? Negative y. Downward is what? My negative y, right? Is it clear? Bibu Shudar? See, it is not y so. This is what we consider, okay, before deriving any relation. It can be opposite also. In real time structure, it not need to be like this. But my all the formula will be derived on this assumption or this sign convention. Okay, this is sign convention. All the formula which I am going to derive will be based on this sign convention. Okay, now I will tell you example. You told na, see, we can have one simple example. It's a two-dimensional. Okay, so this is my sigma x, this is my sigma y, this is my, sorry, this is my sigma x, this is my sigma y. Now write the corresponding shear. So this is going in positive x, or you can write sigma xx, and this is sigma yy. So this will be what? Sigma xy. You can see this will be corresponding sigma xy. It will come downward. So this will be sigma xy and this will be sigma yx. It is clear, right? Sir, our compressive and tensile stress is also, what is this? Sir, are compressive and tensile stresses also shear stresses? No, how? It's true. Compressive and tensile word we use only for normal stress. We do not use for shear stresses any such kind of wording. But they are normal to surface, while shear stress is always parallel. Okay. So guys, is it clear? Now I will tell you, in real time, you can see here the balancing. Whatever force created by sigma x will be balanced by this sigma xx. The force created by sigma yy will be balanced by this. Now the forces created by shear stresses, by this it will be balanced by this, and by this it will be balanced by here, whatever shear stress comes. Is it clear? Now you can see the force balancing. It is in equilibrium. Either it is a normal forces or shear forces. All the forces are in equilibrium. Okay. Now you can have this case also in the real structure. What I mean, now you can tell this is your sigma xy, and this is also your sigma xy. Now tell me guys, this new element is in equilibrium or not? This is also in equilibrium. You can have this case also. Now you will argue ki you have written it is in positive and why you have written it is in negative. I have not written, it can be practical case, it can be. So what I am going to do in my formulas, in my derived formulas, I will substitute this as negative quantity. Clear? In my derived formula, I'll substitute this as a negative quantity. That's it. Okay. So my all the formula are derived with this. Okay. Where this is positive. So my corresponding is also in positive. This is in negative. So corresponding negative. This is in negative. Corresponding negative. This is positive. Corresponding positive. Clear? So this is what sign convention for a two-dimensional stress system, and before that we have seen here this is for three-dimensional stress system. So you can see here this picture. Try to look into this picture, guys. There are 6 faces, right? One cube has 6 faces. So on each face you will have 3 stresses. Can look into this, guys, and tell me any confusion or any doubt in this. Want me to zoom? Yeah. So you can see here, this is what sigma xx, this is also sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma yy, sigma zz, and here I have sigma zz. Now you will have corresponding shear stresses, tau xz, tau yz, tau xz, tau xy. Is it clear? Anyone has any concern, any doubt here? So how many stresses you see here? Tell me how many total stresses here? Yes, 9. There are 9 stresses. So for three-dimensional structure or for three-dimensional body, we have 9 stresses, 3 normal and 6 shear. Okay. So what I can do, here, I can write it in matrix form. So you can see here, it is written in matrix form. What? Sigma xx, sigma xy, sigma xz, sigma yx, sigma yy, sigma yz, sigma zx, sigma zy, sigma zz. Is it clear? In matrix form? Okay. Now tell me, total are 9. How many independent are there? Out of 9, how many independent are there? 3. Yeah. One thing, tell me guys, do you think your shear stress depends on normal stress? No, it doesn't depend. Only we are considering direction. So you will have 3 normal stresses and 3 shear stresses independent. So total independent will be 6. Now you guys will tell how from this 9 it became 6. So how it becomes 6? I know my sigma xy is always equal to sigma yx, and your sigma xz will be equal to sigma zx, and sigma zy will be equal to sigma yz. This is known as complementary nature of shear stresses. Okay, complementary nature of shear stresses. Now you guys will ask me, what is this complementary nature of shear stresses? It is like this, guys. If you take two perpendicular plane, this is one plane, and perpendicular to this is what? Another plane. So whatever shear stress on this plane will be equal to shear stresses on this plane. So this is what? Sigma x y.
You are now unmuted.
So guys, is it clear how this 9 is 6? And now I will tell, I'll derive it and I'll tell. Is it clear? So out of this 9, 6 are independent. Yes, this is another gate question. How many independent stress components for a three-dimensional stress system. Okay, it's not 9, it's a 6. Now someone will ask how this 9 has become 6. Anyone? How we can say this 9 will become 6? This can be checked using equilibrium. Okay, so we will derive equilibrium. Next is what? Equilibrium. So let's look into equilibrium part. Now guys, to derive equilibrium, instead of using a three-dimensional problem, we will do it with what? Two-dimensional problem. Okay, we will do it what? Two-dimensional problem, and then we will write similarly for three-dimensional problem. Means I can extend my two-dimensional relation to three-dimensional relations. Okay, now what we are doing here, okay, first we have written it is like two-dimensional stress system in matrix form. Is it clear? Two-dimensional stress system in matrix form. Anyone? Okay, now what we have to do, we have to find why sigma xy is equal to sigma yx. This is what? Complementary nature of shear stress. To do that, what we do, first we write equilibrium. So this is known as equilibrium equation. I think figure will not be visible. Picture is not visible, right? The middle picture. Okay, yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So what we do to draw equilibrium? Why we write equilibrium, guys? Because in a structure, if we move from one point to another point, your structure, if you move from one point to another point, your stress will vary, right? Because your resultant force may change. Oh, my voice is not clear. Is it clear? Okay. So what I am saying, if you move from one point to another point in your structure, your stress will vary, right? Because your force may vary. Okay. Now this variation we can write it from Taylor series expansion. What I mean, I considered one small element of length delta x and delta y. Okay, on this I can write my stresses using Taylor series expansion. So it is sigma xx. So here what will be my stress? It will be sigma xx plus dou by dou of x sigma xx into delta x. Is it clear? Here my stress is sigma yy. Here I can write this as sigma yy plus dou by dou y sigma yy into delta y. Now here my corresponding shear stress is sigma xy and here it is sigma yx. So you can write here variation. So this will be what? It will be sigma xy plus dou by dou x sigma xy into delta x. This will be sigma yx plus dou by dou y sigma yx into delta y. Now tell me, this figure is clear? Is this clear? So what I did basically, I have considered one small element of length delta x, delta y and thickness as unit. Okay. On this, my variation of stresses can be written from Taylor-Series expansion. How it is, I mean, if on this face my stress is sigma xx, then over the length delta x, my variation is given by what? Sigma xx plus dou by dou x, means the direction in which the variation of what quantity? Sigma xx, and over what length? Delta x. Same way, I have variation of sigma yy, sigma xy and sigma yx. Is it clear to everyone? Now tell me, how many equilibrium we can have, guys, for this problem? How many equilibrium we can have? Three. Right? What those three equilibrium? Why Chandana, two equilibrium? Fx, Fy and moment. Exactly, Ayushi. You are correct. So you have two force equilibrium and one moment equilibrium. So my moment equilibrium will be about what? Which axis you will have moment equilibrium? Tell me, guys. No, it is about center. Which exactly? About z axis. So I will have a moment equilibrium about OZ axis. Okay, about OZ axis, Z axis. So that means you will have sigma mz 0, then you will have sigma fx 0 and sigma fy 0. So these are my three equilibrium for two-dimensional problem. Now first we will do what? Sigma mz equal to 0. When we do sigma mz equal to 0, you will find your shear stresses are of complementary nature. So how we can do that? So to do that, you can see here sigma MOZ is 0. So about MOZ axis. And here one more thing, I am neglecting my body forces. Okay, my body forces are neglected here. Sorry, not neglected. Here in two-dimensional problem, the additional quantity is what? You will have body forces. What is the body forces mean by, guys? Anyone? What is the body forces? Exactly, due to self weight there will be force due to gravity. So here we can consider for this problem capital X and capital Y are my body forces in X and Y direction per unit volume. What is your capital X and capital Y? Body force per unit volume in X and Y direction, and these will pass through what? These will pass through my point O, because O is what? Your centroid or center of gravity here. Okay, now guys, when we take moment equilibrium about Z axis, tell me, will this body force contribute in moment equilibrium? No. Why no? because these forces are passing through that point O. So whatever forces passing through that point O will not contribute in moment equilibrium. Okay, yes. Now tell me, the force resultant due to this sigma xx will pass through which point? It will pass through O. So the force produced by these normal stresses like sigma xx or sigma yy or this sigma xx and variation or this sigma yy will not contribute in moment equilibrium. Everyone agree? The force resultant produced by normal stresses will not contribute in moment equilibrium. So then which forces will have contribution? The forces developed due to the shear stresses will contribute in moment equilibrium. Why? Because suppose this is my force, which will be what? Stress into area. What is your area? This area will be what? Delta y into 1. This area will be what? The length into thickness. Thickness is unit. So this stress into force is what? Delta y into 1. What will be moment arm? This is my moment arm. And what is this moment arm, guys? It is delta x by 2. Is it clear? So what will be my force? My force due to sigma xy will be what? Sigma xy into dy into 1. And what is your moment arm? It is delta x by 2. Is it clear?
You are now unmuted.
So is it clear? Can we move to next? Anyone has any concern here? How this moment arm is coming, how this force is coming, how it is creating moment? Anyone please, any doubt? Okay, so now we can see here. Now my first term is what? Sigma xx into dy into dx by 2. Now one thing, guys, when you take moment equilibrium, because here there are so many things I have written, I will not write here. I'll tell you. Whenever you take moment equilibrium, what you can do? You have to take your moment, clockwise moment or anti-clockwise moment, as a positive or negative. Is it fine? Is it fine, right? Because one direction you have to take positive or negative. So here what we are doing, we are considering anti-clockwise moment as positive. Okay, anti-clockwise moment as a positive, or let me check what we have considered. Yes, anti-clockwise moment as positive. So anti-clockwise moment means what? The moment which is going in this direction, you can see this is what my anti-clockwise direction. If you write x, y, and this is what z. So my anti-clockwise moment is created by what? Sigma xx, and then same way it will be created by what? This quantity sigma xx plus dou by dou x sigma xy into delta x. Now you can see this sigma yx will give me what? About point O, it will give a clockwise moment. So you can see here minus sigma yx into dx into dy by 2, and same way this is negative. Okay, so you can see in the first case this second term is what? Stress into area is what? Dy into dx by 2. Here my area is dx into dy by 2 is my moment term, and again my area is dx into 1 and my moment term is what? Dy by 2 is equal to 0. Now what we have to do here, we can ignore higher order term. Higher order term means what? See, if you multiply dx, which is a small quantity, again dy, again dx by 2. Tell me, when you say at a point, when you say at a point, what will happen to this? We say my shear stresses are of complementary nature at a point. So what it means? This tends to 0, right? So my higher order terms are neglected, and I will what? I will get, I'll get from here sigma xy is equal to sigma yx, because instead of moving from one point to another point, what you are saying at a point. Okay, so that means my higher order terms are neglected. Okay, so what we see here, my shear stresses are of complementary nature. Is it clear? Anyone? Any concern here? So what you guys can do self practice. I will share this presentation. Okay. Okay, after class I will share this presentation, so you guys can do it again. Okay, if any doubt, let me know. See, is it important to remember the definition? No, complementary nature you have to remember. Derivation is not required to remember. In GATE, you have to understand derivation rather remembering. You have to remember formula, and you must understand all the derivation. And see, my way is little different, maybe from other teachers. I usually derive most of the things. Okay, because SOM is like that. You have to have a complete learning, otherwise you may do lot many silly mistakes. Okay, so we will be keep deriving formula, and we have to understand the value of derivation rather than remembering derivation. Okay, so this is what the importance here is, what? Shear stresses are of complementary nature. Now we have another two equilibrium. What? Sigma fx is equal to 0 and sigma fy is equal to 0. Now you can see which all forces will come in x direction. Which all forces will come in x direction here? Body force, which is capital X multiplied by volume, will give one force. Then this sigma x, this sigma xx, and there will be force due to shear stresses also. So Okay, if I remove everything because this figure is not visible, you guys, everything will go away. You guys can figure out from here what all forces will contribute in x direction. Okay, let me do it. Okay, for your guys, clarity of you guys, quickly let me do. So my only I'll write which will contribute in x direction. So this sigma xx, then this will be sigma xx plus dou by dou x, sigma xx into dx. Then this shear stress, this shear stress. So this is sigma yx and this is sigma yx plus dou by dou y sigma yx, and over what length the variation is over length dy. So this will contribute, this and this multiplied by areas, and in addition to that what, body force, which is what, capital X into dx dy into y. Now now is it clear? Parnav, I have only drawn which are in x direction. Anyone has any concern? Now here I have removed forces caused by what, normal stresses sigma yy and shear stresses which is giving force in y direction, that I have not written here. And similarly we have to do for y direction also. Third direction is not required because it's a two-dimensional case. Bibu Sudha. See, body forces, no, Abhilas. It is not like always I have taken y towards my gravity. It is my coordinate system. Not necessary I take, y is towards your gravity. Okay, I have gravitational force and this is my frame of reference where I have three component. Okay, since it's a two-dimensional case, we are having two component, capital X and capital Y. So clear? Is it clear? Let's move to derivation. So you can see here, this is acting in positive x direction. I am considering my all the forces going in positive x direction. In positive x direction are positive. So which all forces going in positive x direction? This going, then this going. This is going in negative and this is also going in negative. So you can see here sigma x plus dou by dou x, sigma xx into dx into dy, then negative, positive, negative, and then body force which is already in positive x direction. So these are my forces in x direction. Now what will happen? This and this will cancel. Okay, and this will get cancelled. Am I correct? Guys, solve this. Quickly solve on paper and pen. Use paper and solve and tell me. I will end up with this equation. Sorry. Take your time and solve this. You can see this dx and dy will be taken throughout common. Okay, so one step is not written here. Once a few things will get cancelled, then throughout you can take dx and dy common. So my final equation will become this. Okay, so what we see here, my equilibrium equation is what? Dou by dou of x into sigma xx plus dou of dou y sigma yx plus capital X equal to 0. Okay, so similarly, I can write sigma fy is equal to 0. Then my equation is coming as what? Dou by dou y sigma y plus dou by dou x sigma xy plus capital Y equal to 0. So these two equations are what? The equilibrium equation for a two-dimensional stress system. Is it clear to everyone? Anyone has any doubt here? Yeah, it is for 2D. We will extend it to 3D now. Okay. How we can extend it to 3D? This is for two-dimensional system. Okay, because we consider two-dimensional. We haven't talked about sigma, zz and corresponding shear stresses. Now, if you take three-dimensional case, so in that what will happen? You will have one additional term here. See, you have written is what? Dou by dou x sigma xx plus dou by dou y sigma yx. So there is one more term is what? Dou by dou a z sigma zx plus capital X equal to 0. Is it clear? Now this is in what? In x direction. In y direction it will be what? It is dou by dou x sigma xy plus dou by dou y sigma yy plus dou by dou z sigma zy plus capital Y is equal to 0. It is in what? Y direction. Then you have last, which is what? Dou by dou x sigma zx plus dou by dou y sigma yz plus dou by dou z sigma zz plus capital Z is equal to 0 in z direction. So you can see here these three are written. We can write similarly because we have derived for two-dimensional case, we can extend it to 3D. Now these three equation, you know, are fundamental equation in finite element method. In numerical analysis, these are what? In my equilibrium equation and used to derive, you know, your elemental stiffness matrix. Okay, so I have these three equilibrium equation in x, y and z direction. Now since I already written my moment equilibrium about z axis is what? Sigma xy equal to sigma yx. So similarly your sigma yz is what? Sigma z. Your sigma zy and your sigma xz is what? Sigma zx. Okay, so these are my complementary these are my complementary shear stresses. Now you go back your matrix, three-dimensional stress matrix. Now it will become what? It will become sigma xx, sigma xy, sigma xz, then it will be sigma xy, sigma yy, sigma yz, then it will be sigma xz, sigma yz, and sigma zz. Now tell me how many independent stress components are? Right. So you have 6 independent stress components. So clear? So from 9 it has become 6. Now you guys know this is one of the question, you know, you go for any interview, interviewer will ask you, you know, even for DRDO interview, for, you know, interview in, you know, some of the private companies where, you know, so they may be looking someone who is good in theoretical background. Okay, so they ask such questions. Mostly people will answer 3, 9, but in actuality independent stresses are how many? 6. Okay, now we will solve one problem based on this equilibrium concept. So this is one of the previous year's GATE problem. Guys, try it. And today's session I will wind up here because I have planned this much only. Okay, so try to solve this problem. What it says, the component of stress in a body under plane stress condition in the absence of body forces is given by sigma xx is equal to ax square, sigma yy is equal to 12x square minus 6y square, sigma xy equal to 12xy. The coefficient a such that the body is in equilibrium. Yes, you guys are correct. So it was for 2 marks. Tell me, is it tough problem, guys? How you guys got -6? Look here. What is my equilibrium equation in absence of body force? It is dou by dou x sigma xx plus dou by dou y sigma xy is equal to 0. Right? Now what is unknown? Unknown is a, and which is part of what? Sigma xx. Another body equilibrium equation also I have. Now tell me, both must be satisfied or not, because body is in equilibrium, right? So I can find answer using my equation 1 itself, but you can verify your equation 2 must be also satisfied. Otherwise this body cannot be in equilibrium. Or if your equation is second is not satisfied, that means whatever the quantities, the data given is not correct. So just try with equation 1. What is your dou by dou of x of sigma xx? It will be 2ax. What is your dou by dou y of sigma xy? It will be 12x and is equal to 0. So what is your a from here? It's a easy, right? And it came for 2 mark, and it came in 2018 GATE paper. Anyone has any doubt here? Now we can check my equation 2 also. Let's check equation 2. So dou y of sigma yy is what? It is minus 12y. Then dou x of sigma xy is what? Plus 12y is equal to 0. So this is what? 0 is equal to 0. So my given data is correct only. So is it clear to everyone? Anyone has any doubt here? So what all things we have discussed today? We discuss why my stress is a tensorial quantity, then my notation for stresses, then sign convention for stresses, and then equilibrium equation. So almost, like frequently they ask one question from these topics. Okay, the next will be most important topic is what? Next topic will be stresses on a inclined section or stress transformation. So what is the stress transformation, guys? Why we do stress transformation? Anyone? Is it clear in this? Anyone has any doubt in this question? Pranav, have you done? Arati, Chandana, I see many people are not listening also. The white spot means either they got disconnected. Mithuna, Paul Thomas, Charu Krishnu, Arthi, can you hear me? Oh, it is not showing. Okay. All right. Okay, fine. So yeah, when the plane on which we want to calculate stress are inclined to the axis. Exactly. See, what we have seen at the same point, we can have multiple planes, right? So suppose you know your stresses in particular coordinate system, then you can find stresses on new coordinate system which is inclined to existing one. What I mean by that, suppose you know this is your xy coordinate, okay, and you know your stresses in this coordinate x and y, and suppose I have another coordinate which is s and t and making some angle theta, okay, from this initial known, then what you can do, you can use your transformation matrix and you can find your stresses sigma s, sigma t, sigma st. And for this we always use a matrix. Anyone knows what is this? C square s square 2cs s square c square minus 2cs minus cs c square minus s square into sigma xx, sigma yy, sigma xy. What is your c here? It is cos theta. What is your s? It is sin theta. Okay, so this is the easiest way to remember your transformation matrix. So in coming class, we will derive first how we have got this transformation matrix and we will write it in this matrix form. Okay, what is the approach we use for stress transformation? We use force polygon. Okay, force polygon approach. What is the force polygon approach? What we do is stresses. Okay, how we can find forces due to these stresses? Multiply by area and draw it on a polygon. Then we will resolve forces. Okay, forces by resolving forces in particular direction and take equilibrium in that direction, we will derive our formulas. So is it clear? So you guys can study in advance what is force polygon, okay, how we take equilibrium and all. See, one mistake people usually do, what mistake they do, they will take equilibrium of stresses. You cannot take equilibrium of stresses, okay, you have to take equilibrium of forces. Okay, so always remember, one common mistake student do is what, you must take equilibrium of forces, not equilibrium of stresses. I will give here general example. One more gate problem. See, in gate 2007 early gate, they have gave one problem. What is this problem? There is a parallelogram. Okay, on this parallelogram there is one normal stress sigma 1, and here there is another normal stress sigma 2. This is sigma 1, and they gave it as this side is A, this side is B. Now they told this is in equilibrium. This stress system is in equilibrium. Find the relation between sigma 1 and sigma 2. Okay, so this was the gate problem. So ideally we should not use any formula to solve this problem. Okay, we can solve this using formula also, but ideally we will not use any formula. What we can do, directly we can draw force polygon for this problem, and we can solve this problem quickly within few minutes or within few seconds also. Okay, so that's why we will understand what is the force polygon approach. Okay, so not necessarily always you use derived formula. You guys can look, this problem is also from one of the gate previous year's gate paper. Okay, so on recording now, here you guys be free to ask as many questions. Okay, and that is in my subject. Okay, I will answer most of the questions. If I am unable to answer any particular question, definitely I will try to answer before next class, or through WhatsApp group, and I will solve plenty of the problems. Just a moment, guys. Just a moment. One call. So the first most important part is what, basic elasticity. So this alone, usually in GATE they ask 4 or 5 questions, like 3 to 5 questions. In recent GATE 2020 they asked 5 questions from here, this part. So there are plenty of topics, and this part will take around 5 classes, minimum 5 to 6 class it will take to cover. And then the next important part is what, this part, which is what, beam. Okay, so these two are the hot topic in SOM. One is basic elasticity and another is what, beam. So in beam also you can see the first we can discuss about basic elasticity. So it has stresses, strain, stress strain relationship, volumetric strain, strain energy, thermal stresses. Now this compatibility equation and this Airy stress function is specific to gate aerospace. Okay, it is not in gate mechanical. So we will discuss this part separately. Now after this, axially loaded member, torsion of shaft, and then one more important, as I told, beam. So in beam we have to start with SFBM diagram, then bending and shear stresses, deflection of beam, indeterminate beam. All these topics we will be covering. Okay, so here these are most important topic. Then we have some other topics like thin cells, buckling of column, theory of failure. So after those two, the theory of failure is next most important topic. Okay. Now, if you take gate mechanical, it is combined with machine design also. Okay. But